From Lombard Street to Alcatraz, San Francisco attracts visitors year-round. But few tourists realize that behind the facade lies a darker past, filled with murder and deception. San Francisco is a true haunted town.
I think a ghost is an energy form created by extreme emotion, and it's stuck in time. The emotion of the city of San Francisco, there was greed, lawlessness, lust. All the seven deadlies were played out in a major, major way in this city.
But it wasn't until 1914 that San Francisco's spirits began to roam. It was then that this growing city began to run out of space. To capitalize on this expansion, they actually dug up the peaceful cemeteries that sat on its rolling hills and replaced them with buildings. They moved the bodies out of the city. And ever since, ghosts of San Francisco are said to wander without a place to rest.
At that time, the turn of the century when the bodies were being moved, most people's feeling were when they're buried, that was it. They were going to rest in peace. And when their graves were disturbed, that could anger them.
Even in a city teeming with spirits, as San Francisco is believed to be, there is one building that stands apart. The Queen Anne Hotel. Each night, tourists gather hoping its haunted past might come alive.
The ghosts may or may not want to have visitors tonight.
Built in 1890, the Queen Anne Hotel is a prime example of the type of Victorian architecture for which it was named.
The Queen Anne style of architecture features like bay windows. It's a very visual, opulent style. This is one of the largest scale Victorians in San Francisco.
Commissioned by a well-known senator, the 48-room hotel was originally designed to be a finishing school for girls.
There were 100 girls that lived on the upper floors, and the lower floor were all classrooms.
But locals say the 4-story structure was really built for the school's headmistress, Miss Mary Lake. Rumor has it that Mary Lake and the senator were having an affair. She was his favorite of 4 mistresses.
And Mary Lake was an educator, so he built this place to be a school, to give some legitimacy and to kind of hide what he was doing with his mistress.
For 9 years, Miss Mary Lake's school for girls flourished, and the senator and his headmistress carried out a secret affair within the walls of the schoolhouse.
It was very hard for her to have an affair. She wasn't the kind of woman who would just take up with someone. She fell madly in love with him. He fell in love with her. And when they gravitated to this place which she built for her, they almost had a normal life together as husband and wife. Because he could come here, and she considered it her home.
But their union was not to last.
She got pregnant, and this was devastating back then, of course, and he had a political career that he had to worry about.
While Mary Lake had dreams of becoming a senator's wife, the senator knew a baby would end his political career. Some say Mary left San Francisco on her own, while others claim she was murdered.
3 men came into her room. They startled her in the middle of the night. They were politically motivated. They knew that the senator couldn't have a scandal. And they took her out behind the building and they strangled her.
Her students didn't hear a thing, and Miss Mary Lake vanished without a trace. Today, the Victorian building is the luxurious Queen Anne Hotel. Guests relax in its elegant setting and enjoy 4-star amenities. But those staying in the posh room 410, Miss Mary's former office, are not guaranteed a peaceful night's sleep.
One of my favorite stories from 410. A fellow was checking in very late one night. He was cold but very tired, so he just walked over the bed, fell down, and fell asleep. He woke up and found a blanket over him. And he knows for sure he didn't get up and get that blanket. Not only that, it had been tucked in all around him. You ever try to do that yourself? It's difficult.
It seems Miss Mary Lake's nurturing instincts have followed her into the afterlife.
She's the unofficial hostess of the beautiful Queen Anne Hotel because she'll make sure you're well taken care of while you're here.
And on more than one occasion, a vacant room has come alive with the sounds of a spirit.
I knocked on the door and somebody said, yes.
Yes.
She didn't have a low voice. She had a fairly normal woman's voice, about my tone, and it just sounded like yes, just normal, very normal.
Lindy opened the door, and the room was still. There were no signs of life. She says the voice must have come from the dead. Still more tantalizing are reports of a shadowy form.
There was a guest that stayed here last Tuesday, and she had said that she couldn't sleep all night because there was somebody standing at her door watching her.
The way that people see Mary Lake, as she's described as this vaporous form, a mist that just hangs in space.
Caught between the thresholds of the living and the dead, her ghost seems to dabble in both worlds.
I think that if something significant happens in your life in a certain place, then you will eventually come back to that place.
And locals believe Miss Mary Lake will forever remain at the Queen Anne Hotel until the mystery of her disappearance is solved.